Well, Dublin will get a second shot at 5 in a row in Saturday's All-Ireland football final replay with Kerry at 6 o'clock in Croke Park. And I'm great to be joined in the line now by former Waterford manager John Jackson Kiely. And John, it was real edge-of-the-seat stuff 2 weeks ago up in Croke Park, 116 apiece. Where did it rank for you in terms of the football finals that you've witnessed over the years?
It had everything. Like, you had a ending off, you had yellow cards, you had super fetches, you had great scores. You just had everything. You had great scoring off both feet, assisted points. It was a marvellous game. It was in front of a full house in Croke Park on All-Ireland Day. There's not another place on earth like it. It was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and like you've been there for some of the classic football finals, John, including 1982 when Seamus Darby stopped Kerry's 5 in a row. A bit was the final 2 weeks ago up there with something like that.
The game 2 weeks ago, in terms of pure skill, was way ahead of 82. 82, it was a kind of an old wettish day there, and the football nowadays is way ahead of in my opinion, is way ahead of the 80s. There's way more skill, and it's a faster game. There's better coaching involved. Like everything about the game is you're on a different planet altogether now compared to 35 years ago.
And in terms of the final that you've been at, John, what would you rank as the greatest one you've been at?
There's nothing to compare to an All-Ireland football final to me. Going to Croke Park on All-Ireland final day, an All-Ireland football final day, where you have supposedly the two best teams in the country battling out for the most iconic trophy in Irish sport, the Sam Maguire Cup, named after a famous man. And playing up there in front of a full house, the pressure upon the players to deliver on the day. Sometimes it's where the stairs are born, says the fella. You'd have guys going in there that would be underrated, and they can produce big performances on the day. Like I remember 98 was the super final between Galway and Kildare. That would have to rank as one of the best. Pat Donlan's son, Michael Donlan, gave an absolutely wonderful performance that day, up and down the field all day. You know, sometimes you see these guys with big engines and they'll get involved, they'll do a run, but they might disappear for a minute or so. But Michael Donlan was on the ball, seemed to be on the ball all day that day in 98. Mick O'Dwyer, of course, was involved, was the coach of Kildare that day. And to be honest with you, like most neutrals, I was hoping that Kildare would win, because it had been something like 70 years since they had won the final last. 1928 was the last time they won it. And it would have been a marvellous way to end it by beating Galway in the final, but it wasn't to be. And on the day, like Galway had a super team, J.F. Allen and Patrick Joyce, to name but two more. But it was Michael Donlan's final.
And coming away from the drawn game, John, did you feel it was a missed opportunity for Kerry after being a point up and also a man up in that second half?
No, I thought the opposite. The way I looked at that was young Clifford, who is possibly the most gifted forward in the country right now at 20 years of age. He skied a ball that he normally wouldn't do. He had two kind of foolish wides that normally he would have tipped him over the bar. And after that, then he got his act together and he kicked a couple of beauties, I just thought maybe when Kerry, towards the end of the game, that Kerry could have played him more, if he was more involved in the last 10 or 15 minutes, they could have won the thing. But what I'm looking forward to in the replay is a better performance from David Clifford. And indeed, young Sean O'Shea at centre forward scored 10 points. I know there was probably 6 of them from frees, but there were some of those frees that were marvellous, into Hill 16, into a crowded, into the Dublin crowd on Hill 16, and they were putting them under a lot of pressure. I know one at 50 there in the second half, a vital kick, and they were booing him, to remind you of the soccer stuff in England. But he took that on. He took the pressure kick and drove it straight over the black spot. It was an absolutely super 50. And he could have had a goal if he had kept down one of the shots. It could have been a goal. Stephen O'Brien, the wing forward, was clean through, blazed it over the bar. It could have been a goal. Paul Geaney had the ball taken off the line by James McCarthy. It was a kind of a fluky stop. His leg was in the right place. They had the penalty saved. Geaney had the penalty saved. And of course they had the goal. A marvellous goal from young Spillane that had come on after a marvellous pass when Tommy Welch would also come on, and the two of them played a huge part when they did come on. And the other opportunity where they had the wing back, young Murphy coming forward, and the ball crashed off Truxton's hands onto the crossbar. Like Truxton definitely saved a certain goal there, So the way I look at it, Kerry had 6 opportunities of scoring goals, and they took one. Now that won't happen the next time. I think like Dublin got to the final without being seriously tested, and I think Kerry were seriously tested by Donegal. That was a marvellous game this year too. It was 120 each, and I suppose you could call it the quarter final. That was a great game of football.
How do you think Dublin will set up defensively this time, John, considering the trouble that David Clifford caused Johnny Cooper the last day?
Well, you see, Jim Gavin probably made a mistake there by leaving Johnny Cooper on him after he had the first yellow card. He probably should have shifted somebody else onto Clifford, And but the next day now, the choice he's left with now the next day is he have a couple of choices. Do I put Johnny Cooper? Do I start Johnny Cooper on Clifford, or do I start Johnny Cooper on somebody else, or do I drop Johnny Cooper? Now, if I drop Johnny Cooper, it'll be a blow to Johnny Cooper. I would also be waving the white flag saying that Johnny Cooper is not good enough, and we really fear young Clifford. Whereas if they switch him onto somebody else, they'll still be showing the white flag. So I suppose looking at it from a Dublin point of view, if I were Jim Gavin for the replay, I'd be putting Johnny Cooper on David Clifford. If there wasn't an improvement in the last day, well then I could switch him somewhere else, but I would start him. Because at the end of the day, he's probably one of Dublin's most dependable defenders over the last couple of years.
And in terms of the selection dilemmas for Peter Keane in the Kerry camp, John, we saw the impact that Killian Spillane and Tommy Welch had the last day. Will either of those two be in the parade on Saturday?
Oh God, they'll have to be. And the big question here is, do you start Tommy Welch? I know there are going to be guys saying he's better coming on. I've often heard this about subs. People say he's better coming on. But I believe that Tommy, if I were in the Kerry camp, I'd start Tommy Welch. Because every time that Tommy Welch near the ball, there was panic in the Dublin rear guard. I'd be starting him at full forward. The next day I'd start Tommy Welch the next day. Now whether you start young Spillane, they're firing against that, but he was absolutely brilliant. Scored the goal in the pint, and the minute when Tommy laid the ball onto him, there was one thing on his mind, back of the net, and he stuck. It was a great goal. You'd have to give praise to the Kerry defence as well. The way they held the Dublin attack, especially Paul Mannion and Conor O'Callaghan. I think they only got maybe 2 points between them, and they're Dublin's leading scorers all the year. But you'll have to put down a lot of the Kerry homework, not to Peter Keane, but to a guy called Donny Buckley, who is an absolutely marvellous coach. That was his 6th final, including draws and replays. He was involved with Mayo. He was involved with Mayo in 4 finals, and he was involved with Jack O'Connor and Kerry in 2011 when Stephen Cluxon got that pint of that freely at the end to win the game. So, there's one man in Kerry that knows everything about Dublin, and probably knows more about the Dublin lads than they do themselves, and that's Donny Buckley, because he studied them. He would have studied them inside out over the years. He'd know what them guys did for their breakfast. He's an absolutely marvellous coach, and he puts an awful lot of thinking into the game. You know what I mean? He's in my opinion, he's the best football coach in the country, and Kerry are lucky to have him there. And they also have Maurice Fitzgerald. Maurice Fitzgerald would be a forwards coach, and you can see that, and especially you can see it on Sean O'Shea, the way he kicks those frees.
And come Saturday night, John, there's going to be history made one way or the other. Dublin will either claim the 5 in a row, or Kerry are going to stop them. Who are you siding with?
To be honest with you, I'd probably always side with Kerry. John. The fact that when it's a Munster team is playing in Croke Park, I will take the side of the Munster team, well, especially Kerry, So I was a bit gutted the last day that they had lost, but I was still thrilled that it was such a marvellous final. And I know there are people thinking that Dublin, they're saying, what happened to Dublin? Dublin just weren't allowed to play. They were outplayed. And even in the National League down in Tralee this year, Kerry put the shackles on the Dublin forwards that day as well, I'm expecting a better performance from Kiely the next day. I know Dublin probably will improve as well. But if we'll get a game of the same quality that we had the last day, a game that has everything, absolutely marvellous game, I'll be more than happy with a great game. But I'd be very happy if Kiely will come away with the win. I sincerely hope they will win it, yeah.
Well, thanks for taking the call this evening, John, and enjoy the All-Ireland final replay on Saturday.
Thanks a lot.